Okay, we're live. Hi, I'm Glenn with City of Island Fishing Field Team, COAF Field Team on YouTube. And this round, what have I got for you? We're doing a rebroadcast of a live stream that yours truly did yesterday on Amazon that talks about a couple of things. One, the dubbing tool or dubbing loop tool that I use to tie various flies. In this case, this is one that I tied in the demo, the dubbing loop fly, fishing fly. And it's one that works really well with some bluegill and whatnot. So I show you that. And I also talk to some of the tools that I used to make that fly, the material. And then we kind of get sidetracked on how to tie a whip finish with 2 fingers. All right. So let's go right into the live rebroadcast off of Amazon. Okay, welcome back. I'm Glenn, avid fisherman, average Joe, and this round we're going to be doing a dubbing tool fly tying demo. Specifically tying a fly like so, right there, right there. Let's see if we can get you right there, okay? Okay. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Fly, very simple. Specifically, okay, looks like we're live. Hi, I'm Glenn, avid fisherman, average Joe, and this round we're doing a fly tying demo specifically to show you how I like to use a particular tool. It's a dubbing tool right here, and you use it to make a dubbing loop. And the fly that I'll be demoing is, let me go ahead and shift the view, this dubbing loop fly. Very simple tie, extremely effective though when it comes to catching some bluegill and, well, something that likes to eat this particular fly. All right, so let's just walk through what material it's going to use. We're going to start out with a size 14 nymph hook right here. You can get in the curved variety or just the straight one. Either one works. And then we will use some olive Dacron thread right here. And then some of this hare's ear dubbing right here. And the key thing about this is there's some different ways you can tie it. But what I like doing in particular with a dubbing tool and this particular fly, I call it the dubbing tool fly, is it's a good starter one to get you using it for other things. Like I'll start using this one for the dubbing tool fly. Then I'll also use it to create I'd call it a collar on mop flies, as well as making egg patterns. There's some simple ways you can do it without the tool, but I find that this tool right here comes in very handy. Let me go ahead and show you a close-up of what I'm talking about. Right there, a little Y, okay? All right, and other things that I'll use on top of that is, let's see, right here, I'll have some UV glue. Oh wait, let me shift over. Right here, some UV glue, little flashlight deal to cure it. Scissors, whip finish tool, right here. And then right here is some Velcro right here that I use to kind of give the final fly a little bushier, buggier look. And then from a fly tying vise standpoint, I'm using the Peak vise peak fly tying vise with its own pedestal, and that seems to work really well for the tying that I do. Right, nothing fancy, just some simple patterns is what I particularly like to tie that, well, we'll catch a fish or two. So let's get started. I'll shift over. Okay, so what I have here is a size 14, right there, nymph hook. This is the straight shank variety. You can get in the curve. It's actually the curved one makes a lot more curvy look or buggier look, and I find that that one's a very useful one to have in your back pocket. Okay, so you'll start out laying a thread base, and this is a very quick fly tie but effective pattern, and just kind of lay a thread base all along the shank. Okay, and then I'll stop about a hook eye behind right here, about 2 hook eyes behind is where I'll stop, and I'll pull down and grab my little finger here and make a loop like so, and I'll start tying back down on that loop and come over it just to lock it in place. And then with my handy dandy dubbing tool right here, it's got a little deal on the end that you can use for making half hitches. So I'll just apply a quick half hitch and secure the thread so that I can take the bobbin, and I'll move this is a rotary fly tying vise, and what I'll do is I'll place it on this deal here, this little arm. I don't think you can see it that well here. Right there, a little arm where I'll just have this sitting. I've got the dubbing loop prepped, but I haven't started using the tool as of yet. Let me shift over. I've got my phone open in case anyone has any questions in the chat. Okay, and the next thing you'll do is you'll grab your dubbing tool. They call it the Y variety or very model, and what I'll do is I'll grab one side of it right here and secure it onto the dubbing loop. Let's see if I can get a better view of it. Okay, so right here, and then I'll flip it over and put it on the other side. So now I have one end of the thread coming here and the next one over here, and I can pull tight and you can see how it's open. All right, and you can, if you're putting dubbing using the your thumb and some dubbing wax, that tends to work as well, especially if you're making some a whole bunch of flies and whatnot. But what I like about this is a good starter one, just to get used to using a dubbing loop, and at the same time it really makes a buggy tight fly that I found has been very effective, be it on trout as well as bluegill, especially on bluegill. Anyways, what I've done at this point is I've just put a bunch of dubbing in between the thread or the loop like so. Okay, and all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to spin it, and I'll just spin it and spin it and spin it, and really it's only the fly tying thread, the hook, and this dubbing loop, and then that UV glue is all that it's going to take to make this fly. So once I have that, I'll flip the loop so now it's a straight piece like so. Okay, and let me bring this back over, and at this point I'll start rotating the vise and laying the body, and I'll make it pretty thick, taking it all the way to the back section where the bend starts, but not past the hook point, and then it looks really messy, doesn't it? All right, but don't worry about it. That's part of the fun. Okay, so I'll work the dubbing so it's just behind the hook eye, and I'll lay a couple of wraps behind the dubbing loop, and then I'll lay a couple ahead of the loop like so, and then all I do at this point is I cut the excess of the dubbing loop. Okay. And then here I'll just sweep back right here so I can see the, I can see the hook eye, and I'll start building a little head right here. Let's see if I can get you a better view of it. All right. Right there's a little head that I'm building. Okay. And then guess what? We're almost done. Can you believe it? I'll take the whip finishing tool and I'll build a couple of whip finishes on here just to secure it. And that's it. Lift my thread above the material and then I'll cut. And it's just a habit that I learned from some folks about making sure you don't cut into what you're working on. See if I can get a better view again of this. Okay, right there. So it looks pretty messy at this point, but I'll then take some Velcro and just kind of bushy it out some more and sweep it back. Okay, and then here's the key thing is, you know, there's all these different things that you can do with I guess it's like all these different glues. You can use different material to make a I guess that hard part that goes onto the back of a fly. And what I find is UV glue is your best friend when it comes building one of these really quickly. I used to use head cement and put it on here, and then I'd put it on a drying rack and let it sit. But with the UV glue, you just apply it on there, put the UV light on it, and boom, you're ready to fish it. So that's one of the benefits I've noticed. And what I like using is UV glue. It comes in like a 3-pack with different thicknesses. This is the UV glue thick, and in this one I had a little light that you use to cure it, and it comes with it. All right, so let's go ahead and shift back to the pattern. Okay. All right, so really messy looking, but doesn't that look really buggy? So on top right here, I'm going to start laying some of this UV glue. Okay, just going to build it on here and work it back in a slight sweeping motion. It's okay to have a little point nail that's a little bit wet, and it's okay. That's still going to work. Okay, and then at this point, if I was using the traditional method where I was using head cement, I would just leave it there and let it dry on the drying rack. But because I got this handy dandy UV glue, UV light, I can just shine it on here and basically count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and it should be cured. Let me go ahead and, yeah, it's cured. Okay, and at this point, I kind of like to grab my Velcro and sweep it back some more. Okay, and there it is. Let's see if I can get you a better view of what it looks like. Okay, right here. Let's see. Can you all see that? I hope you can. Well, here's the one I tried earlier, so you get a feel for what it looks like. Okay, and what's nice about this is it looks sort of like a little like shrimp, but sometimes I'll see some different bugs in the water, and other times I'll take a look at them and see if I can get them in a net and get a better view of it. And guess what? You can you'll be surprised what what you see there. So let me see if I can get a better view for you here. Okay, so here's one of them. Right. All right. Let's see if I can get a better right there. No, how about right there? Okay, so there it is. All right. It's got that UV casing that goes on top. And the one that I just tied, I made this one just a little bit thicker. Okay. Right. Come on, come on. Right there. That's a little bit thicker. Here, let's go back to here. And the main thing I like you to take away from this is this fly is one that I've caught a lot of bluegill on, especially when they're nesting on their beds. And it'll slowly sink, and it's just enough to get their attention to say, hey, I need to hit that thing and get it out of my bed. And next thing you know, you'll be surprised how many you've caught. So that is the dubbing loop fly tying demo. I just wanted to show y'all this fly. If you have any questions, just pop a little deal in the conversation chat deal that we have here. Here, let me see if I can let you know. OD. Okay. And some of the other things that I've included in the demo was some of the tools. I do use a whip finish tool for this one in particular. I did do another fly tying demo, I think a couple of days ago, where I was showing a foam variant. I think it was like a grasshopper, and that's where I was using my hand way of doing so. In fact, I can probably do a quick demo of how to do that without the whip finish tool, in case you guys want to know, because maybe you put an order in on Amazon online for a whip finish tool, but it still hadn't come in. You want to continue fishing or continue fly tying. You'll just take this your two fingers and use that as a tool itself. So let me see if I can find something that we can use. I think I've got let's see, let me shift real quick. Okay, so let's just put this deal here, and let me grab a hook real quick. All right, I didn't have a handy hook, but a needle works just as good. So just pretend this is your fly and you're done tying it. Okay. And you're going to do a whip finish, all right? But you don't have the handy whip finish tool. What you want to do at this point is just do it the old school way by hand. Just going to focus in real quick. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and show you. And again, if you have any questions, just pop a deal in the chat, and I'll hopefully see it in time that I can answer it. All right. So I'm just going to build a quick thread base. Right. So, okay. I think that's enough. Okay. And what you want to do when you are going to do the whip finish without the whip finish tool is use your two fingers, right here, your two fingers. Okay. So all you're basically doing is using your two fingers as these two pieces on the whip finish tool, the point here as well as that bend here. And what you're going to do is similar to what you're seeing here, is pass the line starting from the rear and moving forward, going over your wraps to secure the line and make that whip finish. All right. So that's what you do with a whip finish tool. Okay. But let's say you don't have one and you really want to get that dubbing tool fly in the water and out there catching a fish or two. Okay. So use your two fingers. Okay. So take your two fingers down in the corner. I think I have the video of me right here and right there. Okay. And all I'll do is I'll grab the line like so and twist above like so. And now I've basically simulated that whip finish tool. And all you do at this point is start from the back, go around, spin, and come around again. And you're pretty much doing this, what that whip finish tool is doing, okay? I don't know if you can see it that well from that angle, but let me see if I can get back to the other video here. Okay, and so it's this, and you're kind of flipping around, making it happen. Okay, let me see if I can, I don't know if I can get a better view of it from up there with that camera. Let's see. All right, let's just bring it down. Okay, bear with me. I'm gonna see if I can get you a better angle, because a lot of times I notice I'll be showing stuff and someone will ask, can you show how to do that whip finish by hand? And because I don't know where I put my whip finish tool, or whatever reason they don't have one at the time. So let me see if I can get a better view here. All right, here we go. All right, so two fingers. This is the fly or shank that we're going to make that tie, and lift up. Line is right here. I'll take my two fingers, put it on so, come back down. All right, and now I've got a loop, and I'll move it over to the left. I don't think you can see it, but here is the motion that I was showing in the closer video. Okay, it's passing over the shank, come around, flip your fingers around again to just open up the loop, and then back around, and that's it. And as long as you start from the tail to the head of the hook to the eye, you will have a really good tight whip finish. All right, I hope that was helpful. Okay, and if you do have any questions offline, you can definitely get in touch with us through our I think there's some contact information on our store on Amazon. All right, so let me shift back up here. All right, and I'm going to shift cameras again, take us back, and here was that whip finish deal. All right, and I'll just show that demo again. Two fingers back, one over. Okay, right there. Right, here we go. Start up at the top like so, come down, and I turn, and now I just maintain that gap or that loop, and I'm passing through in this manner. And that is how you would tie a whip finish without the whip finish tool. Okay, and over here is the fly I tied earlier, and I'm looking for the other fly that I tied. Don't tell me I lost it already. No way. Okay. Anyways, this is the dubbing tool fly. Okay, and it's made up of just basically dubbing, a hook, and some fly tying thread. What you can do later, once you get the hang of it, is do that same technique and use it to build collars around a mop fly. Additionally, you can use it to build a body of a nymph or another fly pattern that calls for maybe chenille. You don't have to use chenille. You can use some dubbing material. All right. So with that, let's shift again back. All right, I'm hoping this was useful, and hey, maybe if you guys able to tie one of these dubbing loop flies, do reach out and let us know, or let yours truly know, Glenn, uh, how it worked out for you. Maybe there might be a mess of bluegill that you might be able to catch. I found the other one here. All right, right there, right there. All right. And I found out about this pattern from when I checked out a video at our local library. And in fact, it was a VHS video. It's since been, I don't know, they don't offer it at the library anymore, but I don't even remember who and what the name of this fly is. So just for ease of reference, I call it the dubbing tool fly because I use a dubbing tool to make it. All right. And from that dubbing tool there, I've used this again to make other flies and whatnot. So, hopefully this was helpful. I'll check back occasionally. I plan on doing some more of these, be it a fly tying demo or a particular fishing item. What I used today for today's demo, just to recap, I used a peak fly tying vise right here. It's a rotary vise, and I like this arm so I can get things out of the way as I tie it. And then I like the rotary piece, like when you saw how I tied the one fly, I didn't have to move the dubbing loop around the hook. Instead, I can just use the fly tying vise. Okay, and then other tools in particular, I call out the right bobbin right here. Okay, the reason why I prefer this one is it made out of ceramic, so you don't have that chance of fraying the tying thread. And then on top of that, it has a means of tension. So in the other bobbins that I use, the way I put tension on it is by squeezing the wire that holds the bobbin or the thread in place and making it tighter. But on this one, what you do is you have a little deal here that allows you to tighten it or loosen it. It has some washers, extra washers that comes with it to also help you out right there. And I find that this one allows for a lot more control, as well as keeping your thread tight. And I find that when you're tying, be it deer hair in particular, it becomes very useful because you can really control your line and secure that deer when you're spinning the deer hair for whatever fly pattern that you're tying. Okay, excuse me, I'm just checking to make sure no one's pinging me on the chat. All right, yeah. The other thing is, where is it? Right here. I use these Dr. Slick scissors. Those are good. You can get cheaper ones. You can get more expensive ones. I just pick these up because, well, they're slick. they are pretty sharp, and I've had really good control, especially when you are cutting, trimming off and shaping a particular fly. You need that ability to, and this is the key when it comes to fly tying scissors, is as you cut the material, you want to be able to cut all the way to the tip. Some of the older scissors that I've used over the years, as I'm cutting, I'll notice that as I cut the material, be it hair, feather, whatever, cuts really well down over here, but as you get to the tip, it just kind of bends over, or kind of, it doesn't really tighten well, or it doesn't really trim it well. So I end up getting some fuzziness and some errant fibers and whatnot that just detract from the fly itself. On the whip finish tool, I showed you how to do it manually. This one still works really well, even though I did bend it. I forgot how I bent the shaft, but it does spin freely still, so I'm still happy with that one. That I'm at the point where I don't need to replace it. It still works. And if I need to keep going, or in the case of I still use my two fingers to do a manual whip finish, and that's mainly when I'm tying be it foam spiders, foam grasshoppers, where I'm actually going to secure the thread where the legs are, about mid-body or just forward of mid-body, to secure the line. And with the whip finish, unless you have a specific one that has a wider gap, you'll find that it's tough to navigate through those legs and rubberness that's getting in the way to get a good whip finish. So that's where I just use my fingers and I'm able to guide it over the legs, no problem. Okay. And then when it comes to the glue, I used to use head cement and have to put on a drying rack and wait until it was ready to go. But ever since I shifted to the UV glues and the curing light, it's just seconds. In this demo, I showed you 10 seconds. I'm ready to go take my fly and go fishing. All right, let me see if I can grab it again right here. Yeah, here it is. Okay, so let me see. Let me shift it back. All right, bear with me. Just checking. Okay, right here. Okay, you'll see that is dry. That dried in after a 10-second count. Okay, makes a nice little shell back. All right, so and this little hard piece, sometimes that's enough to get that fish to just, hey, I'm gonna hit this thing. So that little wiggly whatever thing at the end has really got me going. So I'm gonna strike and take them down. As it comes to the dubbing, I like the hare's ear because I do like tying gold rib hare's ear nymphs. And in this case, I'll just take a little pinch. You don't need much, just a little pinch to get it into that dubbing loop, and then you can spin it and you'll be good to go. All right. And then this one, if you have any spare Velcro around the house, this one's one that is from a tomato plant, whatever. I got it from the gardening thing or whatever. It's just enough roughness right there that I can apply it or use it to brush out and shape the fly. All right, and so you get that buggy effect. All right, in this case you can even like push it so that you'll have this little leggy thing right here. So it's like I'm floating in the water, fish sees it, and hey, those legs look alive, bam, I'm gonna hit it. All right, and that's just a piece of Velcro that I had extra from gardening, right? And that's it. So I hope this was helpful. Again, the dubbing fly tying tool fly, made up of Dacron thread, a size 14, be it straight shank or curved hook, nymph hook, and then the dubbing. In this case, I use hare's ear, but you can vary it all you want. And then the next piece is adding that UV glue piece on the top to give that hard shell or harder shell on the top. Okay, and it's not really hard. Okay, it's matted down the hair and kind of gave it a little bit more shape of the bug. Okay, and right there, I mean, it almost looks like a hare's ear nymph, just without all the bells and whistles with the ribbing and the pheasant tail and whatnot. But you can tie this very quickly. If you're new to fly tying, it's probably one that you really want to start. Like I was saying earlier about the trip to the library, and I learned this pattern from a VHS videotape that I checked out at the library This was the first fly in that series. Okay. And in that series, it started out with this dubbing tool fly, followed by a woolly bugger, and then they ended with a dry fly pattern. And what I liked about that particular instruction was, okay, I'm going to show you how to make a simple fly that I can mess up and still get good or catch a fish with. So of course I'm going to stay interested in fly tying and fishing in general because I'm catching fish. And then it did introduce the use of a dubbing tool, and later you can apply that to other patterns or replace things. So let's say you don't have enough chenille, or you ran out of chenille, you can instead use a dubbing tool and make a loop and throw on some dubbing, feathers, hair, and use that as the body. So I did like that about that particular video. And then it shifted over to the woolly bugger. And guess what? The woolly bugger is a great one for learning for two reasons. One, it's a straightforward pattern. Plus it introduces you to the wrapping of the fly. In this case, it could be a palmer wrap or it could be a dry fly wrap. But guess what? That's got you started in using and getting proficient in using that technique on other flies. And then also shows about building the body with the chenille, as well as using be it lead or a non-lead substance to give it weighting. You can also add a bead to it to give it weighting. So with that one fly, there's so many different techniques that you'll use to other flies. And so that was another thing that I liked about. And then finally they ended with the dry fly pattern. And that one's always nice because, again, you got the wrapping technique to learn, as well as the symmetry or dimensions of a particular fly, because a classic dry fly has certain dimensions, and if you get it right, it will simulate a particular insect as it should, and you'll probably increase your hook cuts because you got the right dimensions and whatnot. And it applies to all dry flies in general, typically. Okay, all right. Appreciate y'all joining today. And do check out some of these. If you have any questions, do reach out. Again, simple fly and all the stuff that I introduced you here will definitely apply to other patterns. Okay, so do check back. And all for now. We'll catch y'all later. And, well, good luck and good fishing. Okay, we're back, and that was the rebroadcast of the live demo that I posted yesterday. And it looks like we had a fair amount of folks joining today, and I just want to recap some of the things that we discussed in here that may have been missed. So I did mention this particular video that I picked up at a library, a local library, and it listed 3 different flies that showed yours truly how to tie. One of them involved learning with that dubbing tool, and this is that dubbing tool that I mentioned, okay, and showed the use of it in making that dubbing tool fly. The other thing to call out in particular is the use of UV glue. So when I first tied this about 20 years ago, I was using head cement and putting that glue and build that hard backing or back of the or hard casing of the fly. And what I found is you had to let it dry, you put it on the drying rack, let it spin, and eventually it'll be dry enough and you can take it out there. So the big difference now, 20 years later, is use that UV glue. 10 seconds, 5 seconds in some cases, you got yourself a deal. You're able to start fishing a particular fly soon as you count the 5 or 10 with that UV glue. So that was another one to call out in this one. The whip finish tool, it does come into play a lot, but at times there are instances where it just pays to go ahead and learn to do it manually as well, where I showed in the video how to do so. So a manual whip finish is basically 2 fingers building that shape, triangular shape, similar like you see on a whip finish tool, and then you're just working it back and forth over the shank, and you got yourself a nice tight knot to finish out a fly. Other things, the fly tying vise that I mentioned, there's the Peak fly tying vise, and it's a good vise. It's probably the last one that I'll buy. Before that, I got into fly tying just using some of the cheaper varieties or models. And one of the big takeaways that I always get when questions come my way about, oh, I'd like to get started in fly tying, but it's very expensive, etc. Oh, it's very complex. Or in other cases, you end up spending a lot, and it turns out it's not something for you. And so, just to describe how I picked up fly tying, I started out with one of those $9 fly tying kits that I picked up from Bass Pro Shops years ago, where you still filled out a check and you put in the order form in the mail and you sent it off. And it was a made in India clamp-on vise that you attach to a table, and I kept it for many years before I ended up selling it at, I believe, a garage sale, a yard sale. But then I replaced it with another one that has done me service. It's actually back in there in my fly tying desk. And additionally, about a few years after that, I picked up another one. These were all like either $15, $20 vices, with that last one being a sort of a rotary vise that I picked up from Cabela's, I think it was. And that one did well. And then one day I went to, I believe it was the Bass Pro Shops over there in Garland, just off of I-30, going over Lake Ray Hubbard. And I was at the fly shop, and they showed as one of their demos, they were using that Peak fly tying vise, and that's where I got the bug about using that one. Because the thing about that one is it's heavy. It's got a heavy base. I don't have to clamp it to the table. I can just move it around, even though it does come with a clamping model or variant. I do like that capability. And some folks say it's not a true rotary vise, because in a true rotary vise, you can move the jaws so that you can get it centered. What I do is I'll just move my hook up and down till I have it to the right spot. In fact, I think we got some folks on. Let me go grab it real quick, and I can describe what I mean. Okay, so this is it right here. Okay, Peak fly tying vise got a very heavy base, and I like that. It's got this arm that you can swing around. In the demo, at one point I lay down the bobbin and I spin the dubbing around, so that's out of the way. Also in the demo, I used the end of the dubbing tool, because it comes with a little half hitch right there. So a little hole that you can put over the fly eye and then build a half hitch with it to secure the thread in place while you make your wraps. All right. The other thing I liked about it was, again, it's sturdy. I don't have to clamp it. I can just carry it, move it where I need to. And what I was talking about earlier is, so this jaw stays in place. Okay, it doesn't move. So you can center the thread. It looks like Real Crazy Kid is on. All right, hi Real Crazy Kid. Thanks for joining. Okay, and all I'm doing is just describing some of the idiosyncrasies of this fly tying vise that I had showed in the demo. And so what I do is I'll just move the hook so it's center line and the shank is center line to the fly tying vise, and basically I've got full range of what I'd normally do with a fly tying vise, rotary fly tying vise. And there's other flies. I'll plan on doing some additional demos. I think the last one I did, or first one I did over this format, was the foam spider and a variant of a foam damselfly, where I replaced the legs and went ahead with the some hackle instead. And what's cool about that one is eventually the tail gets beat up because the fish have been tearing at it, or at times I'll see that the fish, be it the bluegill, bass, or whatnot, are not interested in that particular fly, but they are interested in the bug that's just kind of slowly sinking. In that point, I'll just pull the tail off, and I'll have that bug look or variant that I'm able to use to catch a fish or two. And then for those that just joined, right there is the dubbing tool fly. And this one seems to be a good one for bluegill. All right. And once you get really good at it, you can tie one in less than a minute. All right. So, let's see. Other things to just throw out there. I am working on a couple other deals where I'm working some micro lures and bait finesse style fishing. I still have this center pin combo that I've been really itching to get out there and try using some bread and basically free lining it for some of the bruiser catfish that I know are lurking in some of the ponds. So do stay tuned for that. And then yours truly has been away from his old Tacoma pickup because I lost it the other day to, well, it was totaled. I got some video on that. I'll post something, a little tribute video. But anyways, I had that Tacoma for almost 30 years, and it still got 30 miles to the gallon. And I've since replaced it with a new Tacoma. All right. So anyways, if you don't see me out and about in the old green taco, be looking for me in a silver taco. And I'll be out there, hopefully, be at the local ponds here in the state of Texas, North Texas, over here in the city of Allen, or out on the local lake. I've been itching to get out to our local lake, Lake Lamont, and do some kayak fishing. It's that time of year where it is perfect for setting out some self-setting jug lines. So I'll be posting some of that information as well as some of those action videos. And additionally, there's always that chance for do some kayak trolling for those white bass. I do it two different ways. One where I'm doing your standard troll, where I put it into be it a Railblazer holder that I put out in the front of the kayak, or I've got the ones that are built into the kayak where I put it behind you. And when I do that, because I can't see the strike, what I'll do is I'll put these little bells and attach it to the rod, so I can just keep trolling along, paddling, and when I hear the shaking bell sound, I know to turn and grab the rod because I've got a fish on. Additionally, the other way is I'll cast out in front of me and back paddle, and I call it bottom bouncing, where I drop a slab and jig rig, and I'm working, be it some drop-offs, some points and whatnot, various parts of the lake. I find that has been very useful, and you'll be surprised how many different things you can catch bottom bouncing a slab and jig rig. And when I do use that slab and jig rig, I'll tie it sabiki style, so it'll be a slab with as the trailing lure, and then I'll have either a crappie jig or maybe one of those, I call them sabiki flies. They're made actually out of potato chip bags, Doritos, Fritos, or even the Belvita wrapper. And I'll tie on like 3-4 of those and use that as a trolling rig. And you'll be surprised how many fish you'll get that way. You'll get some white bass, yellow bass, catfish, they're all there. See, do you use a cast net anytime? Ha ha ha, bunny. Yes, I do, especially when I am prepping for doing some jug line fishing. I tend to use shad for bait, and what I'll do is I'll just go to the boat ramp and throw out the the cast net, and use that bait for setting those jug lines. Let's see. Speak Japanese to me, Julian Mendoza. Sorry, I don't know Japanese. Let's see, ever use a Gatorade bottle? Yes, I've used a Gatorade bottle. Initially, that's what I had used before I shifted over to these Jugger jugs, commercially bought at the local academy. And then I switched over to some flagging jug lines where you use some pool noodles. And then when they changed the rules, at least for the state of Texas, where you could use any color but orange for recreational fishing, at that point it was sky's the limit, and I ended up making my own kind of Dumbo jugger style jug lines, and I added a little self-setting piece to it, so now I can deploy, pre-bait them and start kayaking, throw out the jug, and it'll go ahead and set bottom, and I can just continue fishing and just grab it later without even having to worry about rehooking it on or securing it to the jug, because I've got that self-setting piece. And I've got some videos at in the channel that you may take a look at. What language do you speak? I speak English. All right. Let's see. The other thing about on the jug lines that I find has been very helpful is when they change the rules also, where you don't have to put your full name and address on the jug lines. Now you can just put your customer reference number or customer ID, which is on the jug itself. So that's been helpful also, because, you know, especially if you're out and about, you got your address on there, so it's there. Let's see. Oh, cool. Thank you for sharing. I used pool noodles before when I was young. Oh yeah, yeah. And then the thing about we here in Texas, I think there's a minimum size. I think it's like 6 or 7 inches, as well as diameter 2 inches. How old am I? In my 50s. Let's see. Fishing with Isa. Hi. All right. Hi, Fishing with Isa. You got any questions? At this point, we're done with the demo, and we just kind of shifted open to an open forum. I do also host the Real Cast Fishing podcast, and there it's mainly this format, but I'll shift over to a podcast format, so it's more audio versus video, and just pretty much open up to be it fishing in general. And additionally, there's another series that I host that talks of the Little Red Book of Fly Fishing that has some great tips in there and whatnot. I have my own YouTube channel. Excellent, excellent. Let's see. Fish in it. Okay, yeah. Let's see. What do you normally catch all day when you go fish? Let's see. Anything that bites. All right. I tend to fish. I may target a particular fish, be it catfish from jug lining, but for the most part, I'm just out there fishing just to enjoy. Let's see. What do you normally catch all day? Well, freshwater classic is just bass, bluegill, and whatnot. I'm live right now. All right. What are the questions y'all have? Tennessee myself. Can't stay around it late. I'm going to sub. Good night, sir. All right. Well, thanks for joining. Ha, bunny. And hope everything's going well in Tennessee. I heard there's some crazy tornadoes that you guys had just yesterday. We're going through it right now in this particular area, but luckily it passed through. Okay. All right. Okay. So with that said, do stay tuned. I plan on doing some more of these rebroadcasts of some of the live demos that I've been doing on Amazon. Additionally, do stay tuned. I'll also do the GoPro mobile fishing live stream, or also the mobile fishing live stream. The only difference between the two is one is filmed live using a GoPro that it's attached to my chest with a chest harness. The other one is an Android. In the case of the GoPro, it's a horizontal format. In the case of the Android phone, it's a vertical format. And sometimes I do well, sometimes I don't. But for the most part, I still enjoy myself getting out there and doing some fishing. Okay, what state do you live in? I am in Texas. Okay, and then good night, fishing with Isa. All right, appreciate y'all joining, and real crazy kid. All right, good night. All right, okay, all right. Do check back. I'll get another one of these out, And until next time, good luck, good fishing.